A few months back, I went over what you guys said was the most important thing to get right in Splatoon 4. And today, I want to go through the second half of your comments. So, let's get back into it. Blitz says more variations of the adjust gear feature. Limiting a lot of apparel to something like roll-up sleeves or pull-up glasses makes the feature boring. Let us put on hoodies, have customizable tints and contents, and especially add crop tops and formal wear templates for pre-existing clothing. I don't have a whole lot to say for this, but I do agree. The adjust feature option was honestly one of the most underrated things they put in the game. I really enjoy it. And I think being able to add even more customization to existing pieces of gear would really help people's customization be further enhanced. Lunar Magic says squid jump plus squid beats. I mean, I'd just extend this to the arcade mini games as a whole. I still think that would be a fun option to play in between matchmaking. I know most people find the training room better, and to be honest, it probably is the more useful feature, but sometimes I just want to do something else. And the arcade mini games were also a very interesting piece of side content that I personally found very fun. And I hope that we get all of them back one day, considering some of them are locked to Splatoon 1. More than 2 callouts on the D-pad. Another one I don't have too much to talk about because it's been said to death already. There is zero good reason we can't have more callouts on the D-pad. At least utilize all the different arrow options if you're gonna do anything else. An option to recommend pushing or retreating or building specials or something like that would really be helpful. This also synergizes with Octa suggesting for more pings. Now, I'm not sure how feasible pings are, but the D-pad should at least have more than 2 options. Bubble Blower should return. I'm gonna use this comment to plug my old Big Bubbler video. This is still one of my favorite videos I made for the channel, and I still really want to see this special come back. I think out of every special in Splatoon 1 and 2, this was the only one that hadn't been brought back that should, and I really hope we get to see it done right one day. Smash Mario Pro says, my hope is for more modes in Salmon Run. As fun as the mode is, only having one rotation and one gameplay style really just make it feel like it needs a shakeup. We know a hard mode was planned, but I'd like to see more ideas for it. I absolutely agree, and I have a big candidate for this mode. An endless mode. Salmon Run should have an endless mode. I feel like the problem was probably system power at some point, given how Splatoon 3 struggles to run it, but that ain't a problem anymore. Salmon Run should absolutely have more modes available at the same time. It's incredibly stale how the normal mode is the only way to play the game, and I think it is the main reason I have burned out of Salmon Run, even if it took like 2 years. Something I've always wanted since Splatoon 1 is being able to battle against bots. I'd love to play against battles offline for those who have weak or no internet connection, as well as help new players get a better feel for the modes before they play online. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to add to this. I think a bot mode for those who are playing offline or just want some practice offline is more than fair, and honestly, it'd probably be good warm-up mixing in with the training range. One Winged Akira says rotations need to go, as in let players vote on maps for a queue or certain maps or something. Give players some choice. Nothing is worse than wanting to play some ranked modes and seeing it's Clam Blitz, Eeltail, and Minspeed. Yes, rotations are a horrible system. How do you prevent voting from being the same maps every time? Just do what Mario Kart 8 Deluxe did. Here's a selection of 4 randomly picked maps. Now vote on those maps. And the best part about all of this, not only do we get to play on maps that people are going to be more comfortable with, but also the devs are going to get a lot of input on what maps the players actually want to play on, which should give them a pretty accurate set of data to determine what stages need to be reworked. Everyone wins. Obligatory plug for apartments. Lockers were fine, but lacked much space, and you'd very quickly get to a point where there was too much in your inventory to take advantage of it. I think this is a fair take. Lockers were fun, but I don't know anyone who's frequently revisited the locker feature. And honestly, that point of there's too many things to use the amount of space is something I didn't even really realize was a problem until it was spelled out for me. I still think very frequently about the loading screen of Splatoon 1 and that little room that was customized, and seeing everyone have a room like that they could customize would be really cool, especially just as a throwback to how Splatoon 1 started. Hopefully we get it this time. Lucy says Splatoon 4 absolutely needs to take advantage of the new hardware it will be on. 120 1440 is a must-have. Okay, I agree with almost all of this. I think 120 1080 is fine, and given that that's the mode we saw with Metroid Prime 4, I'm willing to bet that's what we would get. I don't need 1440 with 120 FPS, honestly, but I would really like to see it. Lucy also also adds a nice to have would be a day-night cycle, similar to Mario Kart World. I would be open for that as long as there's an option to disable it if needed, because some lighting can make it a little bit harder to see. I don't mind it playing normally, but if I'm in a tournament setting, I don't want to roll the version of the stage where it's harder to see against a roller team or something. Better netcode. It's so disillusioning playing Marvel Rivals and having a mostly smooth experience with very few network issues in a 2-hour session and getting on a Splatoon 3DC experience disconnects every game. In an ideal world, I really like this, and obviously the Switch 2 does open up possibilities, but I don't know, I'm still really skeptical about better netcode for Splatoon. That just seems like a big long shot. Hopefully with it being Switch 2 exclusive and the Switch 2 having a better Wi-Fi chip, it'll hopefully at least be more consistent, but I guess we'll have to see. I want a more in-depth story. The lore is always great, but I'd love a story that dynamically changes as it goes on instead of stagnating until the final boss. Honestly, that is really noticeable for a lot of these games. Like, an Alterna, nothing really happens too much outside of a few cutscenes where things are implied, but, you know, we don't really see anything. And I don't even think I have to talk about Octo Canyon, where not much happens for Splatoon 1 and Splatoon 2, respectively. Again, not nothing, but it is pretty slow. Having a story that's more segmented between different chapters and seeing how they progress and change throughout that would honestly be a lot more interesting. And in general, I think Splatoon does have a big lore problem with having a lot of it just kind of locked away to interviews outside of the game or details you have to dig for. A lot more of that should be things that could be discoverable by players as you go throughout it. Again, this is something I feel Octo Expansion did very well, but even that has a lot of room for improvement. And there's so many more interesting ideas that I'd really like to see at some point. There's a lot of areas Splatoon could improve in, but if I had to pick one, it had to be the game taking advantage of Splatoon 2's improved hardware. I feel a lot of the issues Splatoon has could be fixed with the new Switch 2 features. For example, map designs being easier by size or complexity, or a bit more of an open world. I'm guessing the open world stuff is not multiplayer related. Definitely the 120 FPS and improving the smoothness of the gameplay. Nintendo doesn't have to play it safe, whether it's PvP or Salmon Run. And yeah, I think this is arguably one of the more important things, like not the map design parts, though that's obviously the most popular feature we went over last time, but just taking advantage of the hardware. It is pretty clear that the scope of Splatoon 3 was a bit limited by being on the Switch 1, and we've seen what a lot of the new Switch 2 games can do with that enhanced hardware. I'm hoping Raiders will offer a bit of a preview into what that might be like, but in terms of the multiplayer for the game, I feel like the lack of lag issues would really help out a lot. I do think of maps like Clamblitz on Mahi Mahi Resort being fairly inconsistent in terms of their frame rates, and that really seemed to be the upper bound of where you could go with larger map designs. So if that really is a big problem and was holding them back, I'm curious to see what we'll get with that improved hardware. There's a lot of different ways to take it, but I think utilizing that to make a more fresh experience is one of the most important things we can get. And finally for today, more private battle customization. Let us use Splatfest stages, all of the challenge rotation modifiers, and other modifiers like infinite specials or unlimited ink tanks. Yes, I 100% agree. Private battles could be so much more, and I hate that some of the only features for it are something like disabling sub-abilities. We could do so much better. Splatoon 3 should have done so much better, so I hope Splatoon 4 does more. Honestly, being able to host a lot more gimmick-themed tournaments or just fun events would be awesome. I would host things if there was an option to do these random fun private battle gimmicks. With that being said, that's all I got time for, and it was really cool to go through your submissions. When Splatoon 4 comes around, be sure to check back on these two videos and see what actually made it in. I'll see you all next time.